Hi, this is the story about my grandfather. He was a magician, a gambler, and a cheat, and he spent a lot of his time in the 1930s in the southern Mississippi Delta in the southern states earning a living at the card table. Now, after a particularly bad bout of luck at the table with a bigger cheat than him, my grandfather found himself wandering the roads seeking solace. It was at this time that he felt he had nothing left to lose, so he had always heard about the legend of the Crossroads, and he decided he was going to find them. Now, the legend, as I heard it from my grandfather, was that in the 1930s, a down-on-his-luck blues musician named Robert Johnson also met the devil at those crossroads, and they made a deal. Now, the devil offered Robert Johnson a lifetime of fame, fortune, easy women, and the notoriety of being the best blues guitarist in the world. Of course, Robert Johnson had to give him his soul. So, my grandfather thought, I'm going to find these crossroads, and I'm going to try to change my life. Now, he did find the crossroads, and he waited for the devil. The devil showed up, and he said, I know why you're here. A simple game of blackjack, 21, my way. You beat me, you get a lifetime of fame and fortune. You lose, you come with me. So the devil showed my grandfather that he had 3 cards, all of them kings. And he asked my grandfather, how many kings do you see? Well, my grandfather saw 3, so he said 3. But with the first twist of fate that day, the devil showed that he now had 2 kings and an ace of spades, sometimes referred to as the devil's card. Now, my grandfather was a cheat. He knew he had just been swindled, so he said, you cheated me. You must have a 4th card. The devil said, no, son. All you see is 1, 2, and 3. You're down to 2 chances, by the way. So he took that ace and he showed 2 kings. He turned it over and he asked my grandfather, how many kings are underneath that ace? Well, my grandfather saw 2 kings, so he answered 2. But when the devil turned it over, there was now only 1 king left. And he said, boy, you're down to your last chance. Pay attention. So my grandfather felt his soul slowly slipping away. He knew he had to get this one. The devil took that last king, and he said, watch carefully, son. And he asked my grandfather, where is that last king? Now, in all honesty, my grandfather hadn't a clue. He didn't know if it was in the pile or under the hand or gone completely. He didn't know what to answer. But he said, I think it's under your hand. And with that, the devil showed that one to be empty. And then all the cards had now turned in to the devil's cards. And he looked at my grandfather and he smiled and said, it was a good try, son, but you will come with me now. But my grandfather wasn't done. He knew as a gambler, he failed that day. He knew he couldn't cheat the devil. Nobody can. So all he had left was his magic. And he gambled at this too. He said, devil, is this the best you can do? 11, 12, and 13 in your game of 21? Where I can come from, I can beat that hand. The devil said, fine, I'll give you 1 chance, boy. You can beat my hand of 13, and you can keep your soul. You'll have your fame and fortune. Of course, the devil knew he had nothing to lose. It was his crossroads and his cards. So my grandfather took that first ace and he turned it over just like the devil did and asked him, what card have I turned over? Well, the devil smiled and said, they're all my cards. They're all devil's cards. But when my grandfather turned it back over, it had turned into a king. The devil was quick to point out that only leaves you with 12 and my 13 still beats you. But with the final twist of fate that day, my grandfather produced 1 more king and that last ace. And he said, devil, where I come from, 21 always beats the devil's 13. Now the devil was quite amused. He looked at my grandfather and he smiled and he said, you beat me on this day, but I never want to see you at my crossroads again. You'll get your fame and your fortune. And with that, he tipped his hat in a southern gentlemanly fashion and he bid my grandfather a good life. He took his cards with him and he left. Now, my grandfather did have a good life. He quit his gambling and cheating ways, met my grandmother, started a family, and became one of the best magicians of his time. You probably know him better as, but that's a story for another day.